First of all, it's a difference in the gang culture from what's really going on and what the media report. The media is only going to villainize the ones that they can villainize. Most gang members never even get talked about in the news. The majority, 99% of them for that matter. And of that 99% that never get talked about 50% of them never catch a case.
Okay.
Right. So it's like the police. You don't never know about how bad the police is until they put them on the news. Because if people are taught by the system, the police job is to serve and protect. But we who come from under a military-controlled environment know their real job is to keep us in bondage and servitude. They was created to catch slaves. As a slave-catching mechanism, the police was created. Most of us don't know. We didn't have no prisons and we didn't have no police over here before Columbus landed. We didn't need them.
So it's basically a way to keep us subjugated.
Yeah. So all of the ones they call gang leaders is actually the leaders of the tribes. The tribes, nature forms the tribe. We adhere to nature and we click with our tribe.
How does, can you explain a little bit about the forming of the tribes through organic means in nature?
Yeah, humans pack animals. And the nature of a pack animal, birds of a feather flock together. Lions don't run with hyenas. Hyenas don't run with wild dogs. And none of them motherfuckers run with zebras and gazelles, right? They all know their place when nature tell them where they belong. Lions eat zebras, gazelles. Wild dogs eat zebras and gazelles. Hyenas eat zebras and gazelles. Now you have predator and prey already determined by species. The human is a pack animal too, but we are a pack animal with a higher consciousness than the lesser animals. And our ability to follow the rules of nature is what separate us from the lower animals and our ability to deviate. It's rare that an animal in its natural environment go against its natural innate qualities, what we call the nature of the thing. The human is the only animal on earth that can blatantly break from its true nature and adopt a foreign nature. That's why you see humans raised with animals behave like an animal. But an animal raised with a human don't behave like a human. A dog still do dog shit, cats still do cat shit.
Right, because humans are endowed with a certain quality of reasoning and animals are governed by what we call instinct of subjectivity. They're just.
But if you really watch the animals, their level of reasoning is far more advanced than we give them credit for. And also their ability to use psychic means in their natural environment. For example, 15 lionesses going to hunt a wildebeest. They in the grass that's 8 feet high. On all fours, none of these motherfuckers is over 3 feet, 4 feet tall. Now, they all in the grass and they all moving at 50 to 25 yards from each other. Now, here come the motherfucking wildebeest, right? All of the lions know exactly which one they about to get without ever looking at each other. That's telepathy at play. But we don't acknowledge that because we want to be so much superior to the animals, right? Where you see animals adopting orphans in nature, humans get upset. I don't want that little bad motherfucker around me. It's a baby. He ain't no bad motherfucker till you teach him to be that way. And by constantly telling them that he's a bad motherfucker, the ego you create is a bad motherfucker. So now it determines on how he perceived bad and motherfucker, how he react to that as a development of his ego. So we had to change the meaning of bad to meaning good. So that when they called our children bad in their educational system, in a psychological way, we influenced them to believe that, oh, yeah, I'm a bad motherfucker. Versus, I'm a bad motherfucker. It's a different energy attached to it in order to change the psychological dynamic and the impact on the child. So now in the rap song, we can say we the baddest motherfucker and we can talk about all of the dirty shit, but we don't really mean it that way. We just giving a message out.
It's just based on expression.
Mm-hmm. Now notice he's using the same language, but the intention has been changed in order for it to affect the organism differently.
How would you explain that the Riskians or the Anunnaki views or perceives non-ether?
They got a higher scientific understanding than we do. They've been doing this shit thousands of years before us. So their understanding is so much greater than ours, and their ability to use it is so much stronger. But when the human learns it, is the most powerful creature in the known universe. That's why they tried to keep it away from us for so long. To activate that divine feminine, divine masculine, a single individual is the same as setting an atomic bomb off, right, in the realm of the soul. This individual becomes something greater than its sum total of parts. We human alien hybrids on Earth. Some of the original humans was flash frozen in Antarctica, and they thawed them out, and them was some powerful motherfuckers. And we more powerful than them when we come online. But the problem is there was used religion, politics, and sociological means to keep us from ever tapping into higher consciousness and coming all the way active, because you can't be subjugated in your God form. You can't be oppressed in your God form. In your God mind, nobody can say anything to shake you, because everybody got a right to say what the fuck they want to say, and I got a right not to give a fuck.
Absolutely. So let's go here with it. Let's say, for example, you have a community of children in the new educational system and being educated in Nuwabic in the rote system. How will that actually benefit us?
We're not using rote knowledge no more in the new system. The new system is open air method, described by Neely Fuller, and the teaching method won't be rote. It will be based in phonetics and accelerated learning programs at every level of learning.
So when you say phonetics, you're talking about the pronunciation of words.
Yes.
Letters.
Right. Rote knowledge is look, see. Right. So we're gonna activate the right brain to work with the left brain instead of turn the right brain off. That's the major difference in the new educational development. Children should have to have enough time to want to learn something. And we don't give them the time to want to learn something before we submerge them into a miseducation system. The whole education system is designed for two purposes: to auction off your child. In other words, to send them on parade on the auction block of slavery. And the other one is to produce workers. And if you don't come out of it, excuse me, if you don't come out of it as a functional worker, they got a place called prison that they put you in as the waste product. It's just like any other manufacturing process. The educational system is designed to miseducate you in order to make you able to be subjugated. You can't subjugate a person that's trained under the programs of something like Mensa. Mensa get the kids that you can't control. And they form their own network.
So how will a class system exist in the new world?
Not like we know it. It's gonna boil down to this. Under the matriarchal system, you can be as great as you want to be or don't want to be. Your greatness level will depend on the effort you put in to develop your greatness. That's kind of like now, the ones who work the hardest, reach the greatest reward if they know what they're working for. But under the system we under now, the ones that work the hardest always work for somebody else. You can't never really see the true benefit of your labors under this system. It's designed to steal your
creativity.
at every level.
Okay, so besides Louis Farrakhan's wife, who would be second in line in the matriarchal society?
I'm not sure, because a lot of the elder sisters who could have been as respected have passed on. Like Ava just passed. So she gotta have the blood too. She gotta have the blood ties to the land, organic to the land, and she gotta be most loved, most respected. And some of these sisters is powerful, but we haven't seen them enough making the connections to know who the second is. Don't mean they're not making them. We haven't seen it. We've seen the connections that Mother Candice's made around the world. Like, I could tell you people that's sisters around the world, females that signed off on her, that had millions of followers, like Winnie Mandela or Imelda Marcos, right? I could go on. It's the wife of several of the wives of Muammar Gaddafi, love her to death. So it's everywhere she go, her effect is the same on the sisters she meet. That's elders in the community, and they all give her a stamp of approval. It's not just us. It's global. For our matriarch to be able to claim the high matriarchy, she had to be globally accepted, not just locally accepted.
Right.
Over here, it might be an entirely different one just for this land. But for the one that's for the world, the one who got the most respect globally, it would be her.
So we won't have to worry about militants and a matriarchal society?
Won't have to be worried about what?
Militants.
Militant is military minded. And the only difference under the matriarchy is everybody is military minded, because we all looking to protect the children like a pack of lions.
So will there be a need for military then?
Probably a fucking mystic military. We're not gonna be blowing each other up with bombs and shooting each other with guns. That shit is that's so old fashioned warfare. That's the oldest warfare known to creation. Blowing each other up. That's primitive as can be, and that's why it's used. It's rooted in ignorance.
Absolutely, I agree. So let's talk this real quick. I see that between the European people and the desert Eurocentric Arabs, all of them want to rule the world. Where will Islam be in the New World?
Passe. All religions is gone. Religion is a control mechanism for political purposes. It has nothing to do with spiritual development. We're going to literally, the new educational system is going to teach you how to bring your spiritual self online where you don't need a religion.
I know that's right.
And just for them Arabs watching that might want to know, I'm that little nappy head motherfucking raisin head boy that they said that y'all niggas gonna listen to in the end.
That's crazy, because there's so many people that's just, so in the process of waking our brothers and sisters up to the information, which is really to get them on the alchemy of the language and the letters, what type of method or approach do you suggest to get them on the language and the alchemy of the letters so that we can raise their vibrational frequencies?
Ooh, right now, man, it's a lot of people ain't gonna make it. There's too many people right now rooted in the ignorance to even answer that question.
Damn.
They so ignorant that they can't even see a full-blown stage show playing out as politics in their face. So really, we had to focus on the youth, and the youth is the ones who gonna learn. They're gonna be willing to learn by nature, and they're not gonna accept the same bullshit we accepted. They gonna call the grown folks on their bullshit. We just gotta make sure the grown folks don't abuse the child for calling them on their bullshit.
Right, because I noticed this. I was talking to a sister, and her take on it was, well, in order to get the children, you have to get the women. But paradoxically speaking, the gangs didn't go to mothers to get their soldiers or their followers. They actually took what we call occupationally orphaned children. An occupationally orphaned child is a child where the mother and father is outside of the household the majority of the day, and the TV, the school, and the neighborhood pretty much raise the child. So you can go to children nowadays and get them monitored without ever having to talk to their parents. But the question then becomes, well, where does the women come in with that in the matriarchal society? Because you may be communicating a message to their children that particular parent disagrees with.
Watch this. It don't matter what a motherfucker think. When these sisters get up there and say, we just took this bitch over, watch how the women react different. Women that was harlots in the club giving coochie away, gonna go clean themselves up instantly. Because what we don't realize, there's something called the mitochondrial effect of raising a matriarchy that changes the entire psychological makeup of every woman involved. And every woman is automatically involved because they can pass on mitochondrial affect the mitochondria in the men. And when that happens, the men are going to have to change from their effeminate ways, because the women that's going to find that unacceptable, and the masculine men is going to also find it unacceptable.
Okay, so what about relationship constructs? This is another question that one of the brothers had asked me, and a few of the sisters that's in poly relationships. How will relationships be constructed and accepted by the matriarchal council?
In matriarchy, the most worthy man is the man that's most worthy, period. And the women get to pick their sister wives in the matriarchy. Under patriarchy, the poly lifestyle is the men go pick a bunch of women and have a bunch of kids, and the women don't get along. That's the dumbest shit in the world to me.
Sure is.
The women got to pick each other. And they got a method of picking each other and weeding each other out. Right? And as long as you don't know what you want, that's exactly what you're going to get. Relationships, everybody worried about relationships. Am I going to be in a poly relationship? I can't be like, that's all rooted in jealousy and inadequacy and low self-esteem. It ain't got nothing to do with you grown ass people. We done lived our life. We done our dirt. We done shot our wide. It's time for the youth. Everything in the matriarchy is geared around the rearing of the children because that's the future. The relationship is geared around teaching the child how to live their best life, giving them that tools to create their life. If the tools to create their best life entails them learning telepathy, I'm teaching it. If it entails them learning psychometry, I'm teaching it. If it entails them being able to manipulate matter with their mind, I'm going to teach it. Because that's what's best for the future. We only think about today, right now. Right? And we don't know what happened yesterday. Half of us can't remember what we had for breakfast 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Right? Because we don't watch the long game, and we ain't too keen on watching the short game. To watch the long game, you can look deep into history and see far into the future. You know that if something don't change, then something got to give. And when it gives without the change, it gives in a negative fashion. But if you find a route to the change, then you can control the explosion of the future being born.
So what would be the type of political system, if any? Communism, socialism, or will it represent something new that doesn't fit in those categories of socialism, communism, and capitalism?
The politics is matriarchy. Matriarchy override all that bullshit. The men is not going to tolerate a democracy. They're not going to tolerate a republic. They're not going to tolerate a communism. Communism is tribalism, taking the family out of the equation causes it to fall apart.
Yeah, it's extreme as hell.
Not really. It's tribalism without the family dynamic, and that's what causes the problems. It was tribalism with only the chief being able to benefit and all of us braves being able to suffer. Well, that's not under matriarchy, that won't be tolerated. Everybody got to have access to their own best life scenario, but you have to teach them how to want more for themselves. Suicide is at an all-time high because we teach low self-esteem as a form of education. Low self-esteem is hardwired into the educational system.
Give an example of that. Can you give an example of how low self-esteem is taught?
Yeah. You don't matter when you sitting in the back of the class and you don't got on the newest Jordans.
Oh, yeah. Now, that's common. That's common.
Right. And they know that different people from different socioeconomic backgrounds is going to converge on the educational system. So they turned us into consumers in order to perpetuate the low self-esteem. He who can spend the most money and had the least amount saved up got the highest ranking on the idiot scale of low self-esteem. So you go out, you ain't got $100 in the bank, but you spend $140 on some gym shoes.
That's dumb as hell.
But that's what we doing. We consumers now.
Here's a very... Go ahead.
That's what's contributing to the low self-esteem, a consumer. You have to be a consumer in order, because look, if you don't have low self-esteem, you don't give a fuck if the gym shoes cost $5 or $500 as long as they look neat, clean, and fresh. When you got low self-esteem, you got to keep up with the Joneses. And the Joneses got to keep up with the Combses.
Well, here's a question that I've been asked. And I do find that this needs to be conveyed, but in reality, I don't think that there is a generalized answer. But the question is, how do we know that the matriarchal system won't become tyrannical or chauvinistic?
Because it's a history, thousands and thousands of years before patriarchy, that attests to them. They never needed prisons under matriarchy. We was matriarchal before Columbus came. We still had, disagreements, but we had a different way of solving problems than we do now.
Right.
Our whole understanding of life was different because we lived from a different psychological dynamic. So the matriarchy has never been a tyrannical government style, and it never produced tyrants. Because it's always, even if Mother Khadijah is the highest ranked matriarch on the land, guess what? She still got to have at least 72 matriarchs that she got to answer to if she should give out a fucked up order. Right. Not one, she got at least 72. That's where the whole 72 elder idea come from.
Oh, okay. So let's address this. Let's address Big Mama. Everybody wants to know, that's been listening to your lives, what is Big Mama, or who is Big Mama?
That's Prime Creator. That's root energy. We was talking earlier about the Shakti to balance out the melanin chaos.
Right.
That's Big Mama energy does that. We call it mother wit. It comes through the Kabbalah as Sophia. It comes through in Egyptology as Tawaret. Right. It comes through as the native culture as the Great Mother. And the Great Mother is always accompanied by the Great Father in the organic cultures over here in the Americas. Right. And we call the Great Father he who walks the sky, the Great Skywalker. Right. The old man of the sky, the old man of the forest, the old man river. That's all the same energy. But the energy of the masculine is contingent upon the support of the feminine energy. Big Mama energy is the energy that says, this man right here is a good man. And so I'm going to give him the highest rank. It's the energy that tells the pack how to form. It's the energy that tells the man what woman love him for real versus the one that's trying to get over on him and suck his life away. That's Big Mama energy. All it is the great expression of prime creator energy that we can read in nature by understanding nature.
What is the difference between Big Mama and non-ether?
That's the same energy. That's the same energy. Big Mama is non-ether energy. When we're talking about ether utopia, the Ethiopian, the great dark mother, that's her.
So non-ether is actually feminine.
Feminine hostile. It's not just feminine. You got to add the hostile to it, because when we start talking about the Queen of Heaven and Earth, now we're talking about what we call Oshun energy, which is healing and prosperous energy of the feminine. And it's more soothing and relaxing. Big Mama energy in its raw form will fuck you up. So you ever read in the Bible when it say that self-accusing spirit will rise up and whoop you? The self-accusing spirit is Big Mama. And it comes directly through your mitochondrial as the fuel source to life for organic organisms on Earth.
Say that one more time.
It comes directly through mitochondria as the fuel source of organic life on Earth.
So, okay, with that being said, because we've been taught extensively about mitochondrial DNA in the tab, can you give us a clear, concise, and comprehensive way to view mitochondrial DNA?
Well, when you look in a cell, you have a DNA helix and you have a mitochondrial DNA cell in the center of the cell. The DNA, mitochondrial DNA, actually is the fuel source for the entire DNA helix. It's the fuel source for all the cells. It's the actual